Alright, what's going on, everybody? It's your host today with a co-host who I'll introduce in a second, but this is the coffee shop. Grab your lattes, cappuccinos, whatever the hell you're drinking. This is going to be a super interesting discussion versus battle gauntlet today kind of deal. And here is one of my homies from the coffee shop, a fellow content creator and a lantern expert. And he's going to be helping talk about the Naruto side of things today, especially. And that's my boy Lumos. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Lumos Theramax. Glad to be on the channel, coffee shop crew. And little known fact, I am real big into Naruto and Boruto.
Yeah. So this is actually going to be fun. And for those that have been subscribers for years, this was one of the first ever videos I ever did on my channel when I started doing comics and manga. So it's kind of cool to go back and revisit this topic. And again, my main channel is Jobbers and Goons. His main channel is Lumos Theramax. So make sure to sub over there if you haven't already. Now, getting into this, we're going to break this video down in a few rounds. First round, we're going to do a quick discussion of gauntlet style. What if Starkiller from Force Unleashed and Star Wars pulled up on the Hokages? How would it go for each of them? Second round, we will do all the Hokages minus Naruto versus Starkiller, and if we feel it's necessary, we'll talk about a third round with all the Hokages, including Naruto. So, with that in mind, I hope you guys enjoy this, and let's begin. So, first round, Starkiller. Which Hokage we putting him up against before I talk about Starkiller? Who goes first?
Let's just go in order. Yeah, let's just go in order.
Alright,
Hashirama first, yeah.
Alright, let's get spicy with it right away. Okay, so I'm going to real quick talk about Starkiller a little bit. Starkiller is obviously the apprentice to Darth Vader, and he was secretly being raised and trained to one day help Vader surpass and defeat Sidious. Now, what made him such a formidable character is he always had insanely raw potential. This was best showcased when Vader went to invade Kashyyyk and execute a force that he felt there. He found a Jedi Master and slayed him. But he realized when his lightsaber was taken from a young child there that the son of that Jedi was stupid powerful. And that's when he took in Galen Merrick to become Starkiller. Starkiller is trained in multiple forms of lightsaber combat, thanks to both Vader and his training droid, Proxy, who can mimic any duelist that he encounters or has like footage of. We see Galen Merrick has experience against basically all lightsaber styles. He, in particular, typically favors dual-wielding style and is very aggressive with styles like Juyo. What also makes him incredibly dangerous is his raw force power. Like I said, he was actually noted in an accompanying guide and statement from the creators that if he was allowed to grow older, because he was a teen when he died, he would have perhaps even surpassed Palpatine himself in power. He was briefly able to hold his own in a power struggle with Palpatine, as well as he did manage to overtake a pre-prime Darth Vader. He took down Shakti, who could control a whole planet, and this dark force nexus that she was controlling was compared to a space-time disrupting astral body. And he took down other Jedi of note, former Clone War heroes and such. And overall, his arsenal, which includes force push, force pull, to the extent that he helped control a Star Destroyer on its way down, his telekinesis, telepathy, his chokes, his repulse, which like disintegrates you on touch, and his durability, in which he was able to even survive going beyond death to where your identity is supposed to be stripped, and he retained it until he returned back to his body in the novel, which is insane. So overall, Galen Merrick, aka Starkiller, is insanely dangerous, and this gauntlet will be fun. Real quick, I'm going to let you do a brief breakdown on Hashirama.
So, Hashirama is the OG god of shinobi whenever it comes to Konohagakure, and I'm telling you, this guy's by far one of the most powerful out of his era, only by the power of Madara, but as we all know, the guy's defeated Madara twice, so this dude's flat out a monster. Most notably known for his Kekkei Genkai of Wood release, as like including nativity of world trees, world of flowering trees, the Hobie technique, and like wood dragons and stuff like that, as well as his really, really, really big crazy shit, such as the Hote, as well as his obnoxious shit like the wood clones that definitely got the one up on Madara. And of course, his most notable amps being Sage Mode exclusively, and a few of his wood releases in that form are even wackier, capable of pretty much tanking quite a bit of different things with his several thousand hands Sage Art wood release. And the thing that makes this guy wild as fuck is he soloed pretty much everyone ever, including all of the tailed beasts, and is very, very, very difficult to pin down and keep him from just throwing an entire forest at you, as well as his incredibly talented analysis whenever it comes to combat, as well as chakra levels.
All right, very good. So what makes this matchup actually a lot more interesting than people think, because when I posted this hypothetical in my community tab, a lot of people were saying, like, oh, Hashirama probably gets him. Well, here's the problem for Hashirama. Starkiller has seen Hashirama before, and arguably to a way more extreme degree. I'm, of course, referring to Shakti and Felucia, which, like I said, was a planetary nexus. That entire planet had a literal killing intent for Starkiller as soon as he touched down, and he was fighting the forest, the jungles throughout the entire planet, the wildlife there, which included massive creatures. So, like, the fact that he's running through all of them and then fought Shakti, who's controlling the planet as he's doing that, like, yeah, he's seen Hashirama types before. Now, we did talk about something interesting off record, which was, you know, what if Hashirama uses his darkness genjutsu? We would see Starkiller like tap into the force at that point and be more reliant upon that, which could be a lot scarier for Hashirama, because that means that's like a more force trusting Starkiller, which means he'll only be stronger. And even younglings can fight without their eyesight and are trained to do so if it's compromised. So what are your... I think Starkiller mid-diff beats Hashirama. What do you think? I think Hashirama is really hard to kill, which obviously gives him staying power, but Starkiller will get it done to me. What do you think?
His regenerative capabilities are really frustrating to do. But the problem here is, especially if this is a live Hashirama, which I'm assuming it definitely is here, but that lightsaber is going to cleave pieces from him if it manages to land, like 100%. And he may be able to like regen that, but it's like, how many swipes? How fast do you think Hashirama is in comparison to him? Because if once he gets up close to him, it's not going to take but one or two strikes to make Hashirama no longer in the world of the living, in my opinion.
All right, just to give people perspective on how fast like legend Star Wars characters are, even like regular Jedi pilots and even human pilots can react to hyperspace jumps, which is FTL plus. We know Vader was actually overwhelmed by the pure speed of Starkiller, and Starkiller was faster than Shakti as well. So, yeah, he's like casually FTL plus.
This guy's in the top tier of the verse whenever it comes to speed, which is really scary. Considering, like, in Naruto, the best real crazy light speed feats that we're really popping off with are, like, Light Fang from Madara that he used in his Ten Tails forms, which that version most definitely scaled above the Hashirama that we have here. And Naruto and Sasuke obviously were far more amped than the Obito that they had just recently fought, who was kind of scaling similar that the Kage were capable of fighting.
Yeah, and we don't want y'all to think like we think Starkiller takes this easily. It very well could turn into a stretched out battle, but it's a waiting game at that point.
Yeah, pinning him down. I think that would be like the hardest problem. Pin him, because he's so damn smart and he's so cunning with those damn wood clones, and they're convincing as fuck. Like 100%. Even Madara with his best eyesight could not tell which ones were real and which ones were fake. But we have a character here who can literally sense the force within people. So I don't even know if it would be too unreasonable to believe that he could actually detect him even amongst those clones.
Yeah, I mean, this same character, I mean, he's trained to detect real versions versus like diversions, because in the Force you can obviously use force cloak and whatnot. He also can detect characters using illusions and teleporting and all that. So he's seen this kind of stuff before, and probably would be able to take him down. I see Starkiller advancing mid-diff
against
Hashirama.
Even if he manages to catch him with a bunch of like a giant nativity of trees kind of scene, like he's just gonna force repulse it all away. Like there's just nothing that's going to be able to capture him, and alongside his speed, he should be able to survive an encounter with Hashirama. I agree.
All right, so moving on, we have next Tobirama.
Tobirama, the second Hokage and younger brother of Hashirama, is one of the most intelligent characters that exists amongst all of the Hokage. The guy was a genius and was a master at developing a wide variety, like a wide arsenal of jutsu. And obviously he's comparable to like Madara's younger brother Izuna, as well as a bunch of other people with his very powerful water styles, as well as his flying thunder god that the fourth later on kind of took to a higher degree, as well as like his Edo Tensei, which will not be too relevant within this fight because obviously you need a little bit of prep to go to kind of like make that happen.
Agreed. It's like I don't want to waste too much time on Tobirama because we kind of got the big dog out the way. I'm not trying to disrespect Toby, but if his big brother's not beating your ass,
you know what? Tobirama's just stuck in the shadow of brother, and you know what? It would be the exact same thing in this battle. He would probably watch Hashirama eat it and be like, "Yeah, I don't even want none of this shit. I'm gonna go do my own thing."
Yeah,
he should get beaten down. Yeah,
I think this is the type of character that's a lot more dangerous in the next round.
True.
Yeah. So this brings on a fan favorite, Minato. We go ahead and explain.
Oh, hold up! Before we hit up Minato, we gotta hit up Hiruzen.
Oh, facts.
If we go in an order, you can't forget the OG second, well, technically third god of Shinobi, of course.
Yes, the third.
And he's trained by Tobirama. He's got some really wacky shit. He does some really crazy things in his Edo form. But at the end of the day, he's really utility driven, and the fact that he has a large variety of jutsu and knows a ton of forbidden jutsu, like the Reaper Death Seal, as well as like he's got a summons, which I don't really think would be too relevant within the context of the battle, but he's really experienced, really good at strategy, but yeah, I don't know if he's really gonna stand up too long whenever it comes to somebody with the speed and the prowess of Starkiller, man. I don't know.
Who's the strongest Hokage?
Nah, that old man would get his ass beat. He's too fast.
Yeah, he kind of got pooped on by Orochimaru. Given Orochimaru had prep, but like he's a little bit hesitant to be the aggressor, and I think that's not going to work well against somebody like Starkiller, who is like 10 out of 10. I'm running you down.
Yeah, I think he's getting run down there, and I think this next one is probably the one people are real interested in hearing now. Go ahead and break down Minato.
Hold up, real quick. And if you think the Reaper Death Seal is actually going to be viable against somebody like Starkiller, you are like 1,000,000% wrong. If you don't think there's soul hacks and stuff like that within the context of like Star Wars, you're 100% wrong. And like he has to catch him for that to work, and I just don't see that happening. But moving beyond that, Minato obviously trained by some of the best shinobi that we really have to offer with of the entire village. He is wildly talented with taking that jutsu we mentioned earlier from the second Hokage and amping it up to arguably the highest degree that we possibly have. His flying Raijin is very frustrating, and this is where you're going to see, much like kind of rushing back into our Hashirama argument, these characters really having much higher end speed than like second and third for sure. Both with his teleportation abilities, his Shunshuin, as well as his Flying Thunder God. And he also can amp himself with both Sage Jutsu And depending on what point in time we're utilizing here, he has his own like a QB chakra cloak he can access to of all the Yang chakra he sealed inside himself with Reaper Death Seal. Speaking of which, this character also has Reaper Death Seal and is much faster than the last gentleman on our list, to say the least. This guy was so dangerous that people were just ordered to run away on sight of seeing this guy.
Yeah, like it's hard to deny how cool he is.
Yeah,
but cool factor doesn't always mean you win. Now, I think the thing that most works in his favor is, yes, he's faster than the other three we talked about, but it's his seals versatility and his quickness with them, as well as like. Would his teleporting work that well? I'm not as sold on it just because Starkiller's fought a teleporter before. And he's seen that style before. So, it's just a matter of if he's fast enough, which, yeah, I believe he is. So, at that point, it's going to come down to who hits who first. Actually, no, it's not even that. I don't see a Rasengan landing on Starkiller. I think he would literally flip away and slash him, or turn around and just catch him in the air.
I'm not even sure one Rasengan would actually even put him down, which is like the real issue. And of course, he might be able to tag him with like one of his seals, so he can always jump to him. But he can always jump to him, and I think that works as a bigger disadvantage for Minato than it does Starkiller, because you jump in close range with him.
And Starkiller could easily just catch the Rasengan with the force.
Yeah, just force shove him away as he gets close. Yeah, that force repulse. You guys are gonna hear us bitching a lot about that, because that's like one of his strongest abilities, and it's the most obnoxious one to get through because it's omnidirectional. Very similar to Diva Path's Shinra Tensei.
Yeah, and he's willing to do it like all the time. His stamina's crazy. So, yeah, this would be a super dope battle. This would be way cooler if Minato had a lightsaber.
True.
He doesn't. So
he stabs him with a dagger. It's just gonna piss him off in AM.
Okay, so question: who do you think's a harder fight, Hashirama or Minato for Starkiller stylistically? I think Starkiller beats both one-on-one. So I'm wondering who you think's harder.
I do think he would. I think that Minato is better suited to fight somebody like Starkiller. So I'd probably give him the advantage. Even though I think stat-wise you'd probably look at Hashirama and just say that, but that guy's better. But just due to the way the kits work of the individual characters, he's much more of a direct, extremely hacksy with a large variety of ways. And like tagging him with one of those seals could give him some very interesting moments that I don't know if Hashirama would take that chance with. And you can't really be defensive whenever it comes to fighting somebody like Starkiller. You kind of got to match his energy. And I think Minato's one of the few guys who'd be able to do that on this list because he's so obnoxious with that teleportation.
He also has a really good ability to create separation. So... yeah, I'd say that also helps him. But I think Starkiller takes him down. He's gonna catch him first, in the worst way. Next, go ahead, break down. Go ahead.
Yo, so Fifth Hokage, the old wonderful Tsunade, who's basically within the context of this battle, a giant tank who won't be able to tank too much. Tsunade is really good at regeneration, and she's very physically powerful. So much so she could like shatter the rib cage of the Susanoo. But like, I really would. She's just not going to be able to do anything like at all whatsoever. She was really good within the context of a team scenario if the enemy doesn't immediately kill her. But somebody trained like Starkiller is 10 out of 10 going to just brutalize her on the spot, probably amputate her head, and unfortunately no regeneration with no head.
Yeah, I think he would just catch her with the force and cut her head off. It'd be embarrassing.
Yeah,
that's why I started laughing, because I was like, she's built to get killed by him. That's unfortunate.
I mean, like, what'd she do? Summon Katsuyu, that giant slug, and then just him fucking incinerate the slug hole, and then just turn it on her?
All right, yeah, it just wouldn't work. All right, what about the next one?
All right, so here's where things get a little bit. Actually, so the next one would be Kakashi. And Kakashi's actually really interesting to consider because depending on what point in time, I think Kakashi actually could be really badass. But for the context of this battle, this is when he's a Hokage, okay? And when he's a Hokage, the information we have on him is about zero. Kakashi is really talented, arguably one of the smartest shinobi in the entire village. But unfortunately, after the loss of both of his EMS, he doesn't really have much to offer whenever it comes to a battle. And I know what you're saying, but wait, he has one statement of his purple lightning making him stronger than he ever was before. But it's one of those things where, like, well, okay, I don't think Kakashi coming up with purple lightning scaling over dual EMS Mangekyo Sharingan, like Kakashi, it's like just not happening. Now, if he had those EMS, I think this would be a little bit, or those. I think this would be a little bit different of a conversation because we're starting to mess with some time space hacks that I think could definitely be frustrating. But purple lightning or whatever jutsu he's going to throw at him, whatever strategy Kakashi is going to try and throw at him, is going to be foiled by the amount of awareness that he has with his use of the Force.
I'd agree to that. Yeah, that makes sense. Kakashi's, like you said, he's tricky. He's been around the block. He's got a cool arsenal, but wish he had DMS, baby, because without that, I see Starkiller getting the drop on him eventually.
Yeah, it's. I think this fight would be very reminiscent to his fight with Pain. He's just coming up against a guy that's way outside of his league, and he's just gonna get ran down by him and probably killed.
All right, final one for this round at least. This is going to be the most interesting and probably the most controversial. But go ahead and break down Naruto, and we will consider him with and without Baryon mode. So go ahead. So
Naruto, obviously the last of the current Hokage, is by far, I think, the most frustrating person to fight, let alone exclusively for this matchup, but just in general. Especially with his higher end forms. Obviously, he's got the capabilities of mass producing hundreds of clones. Each one of them can wield pretty much any of the powers that he has. He's got truth-seeking orbs. Given that's something we don't necessarily see later on down the road with Boruto. Really fast, basically has teleportation with how fast he's moving, and is just very adept at very wide-scale attacks with a large variety of people that are utilizing his power. In unison with Kurama, he also has like larger forms with his KCM mode, and I think stuff like that would work against him. But the tail beast bombs and stuff, I definitely could see causing some problems on the battlefield if his opponent stays still long enough. What you reppin'?
Alright, so I think Naruto, and without Baryon, I think he could probably beat Starkiller with a clone overload. I'm just not quite sold on Starkiller dispatching all of those clones before eventually someone tags him enough to be a problem. However, if he, for whatever reason, I do think he would favor clones and would go for it. So I'd probably say Naruto high diff. Because again, you know, all out Starkiller with the Force might just find him and try to end it as the clones attack. I don't know, but and his repulse is crazy too. I think Naruto and without Baryon probably wins high diff, but I think with Baryon mode he actually loses.
Why do you think he loses? Just curious.
Yeah, he doesn't have fucking clones. So Starkiller doesn't give a fuck about a 1v1 with Naruto. It's that 1v2000 where it becomes problematic. So
yeah, no, I'm 100% on board. And plus, it's kind of weirdly unclear as to exactly how like Baryon mode works whenever it comes to that chakra. If he strikes somebody else who doesn't have chakra, that might not work. But within the context of the battle, it may. But I think in a one-on-one situation, he's both fast enough and skilled enough. He might take a few hits, but I don't think that's going to be something that will 100% put down Starkiller. He's going to keep rolling. But one screw up on Naruto's side with that fucking lightsaber, bro, and it's not going to be fun, to say the least. Naruto, out of all the characters so far, with his massive variety of hacks, as well as how fast he is, I think that being the biggest thing, is definitely the best matchup in a 1v1 scenario out of everyone we've mentioned so far.
Agreed. Let us know in the comments who you think wins in that 1v1 for the different versions of Naruto with regular and then with Baryon. Now, the second round, all the Hokages except Naruto jump him. What do you think changes about this scenario?
So when we start throwing all these guys together, these guys are really good whenever they're fighting, because it's going to take 1 to 2 people to just basically cover them while they can come up with a strategy and analyze his moves. As I mentioned earlier, second Hokage is a real shithead, and he's really good at developing plans and enacting them in real time. First Hokage could definitely play some defensive shit and could be really just like could do a really good job at making sure he never makes it towards his teammates, or if he does manage to make it there, that they were just wood clones in the first place and he's kind of getting played, which would be really frustrating to Starkiller. I think that a few of them still definitely probably going to take L's. Like Tsunade is still not very useful. Like I don't really think that she's going to be able to do too much within the context of a fight versus him. But I think team-based strategies from Minato, second Hokage, and first Hokage, Hashirama, could definitely lead to some problematic moments. Because being distracted by like a force repulse from an entire forest attacking him will leave him momentarily vulnerable to characters like Minato or second Hokage teleporting in on him, especially if they get a seal on him. Because once they have a seal on him, 1 or 2 of them could just blatantly sacrifice their lives for a potentially lethal strike or something along those lines.
I just pictured a badass moment. Rest in peace, Minato fans that hear this, but where he like comes in to hit him like he did Obito when he fought Kid Obito, and right before the Rasengan touches Starkiller, you just see Starkiller repulse and rest in pepperoni at that point. I think it's a lot more interesting at this point. I think the distraction would actually be Hashirama and Tobirama. I think they'd be like, you two go ahead and try to distract them. I don't know how much this helps them, though. They are a lot more dangerous and more probable to get the win cons like seals, like advanced seals, but I don't see them pulling it off. I see him getting roughed up in this, but I do see him taking several down early and then taking down the tougher ones.
The reason why this is such a frustrating matchup, I think, for a lot of the characters. But Lumos, dude, that force repulse just pushes things back. And it's like, no, it's far worse than that. He literally just disintegrates people with that force repulse. It's like, it's a really scary technique. And so if you get close to him or you throw like any large scale shit towards him, he's going to be able to escape whatever it is with that force repulse. And he's flung characters like Vader away from him with this shit, right?
Yeah, he's just straight up force pushed Vader before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's some really wild power coming from.
And he caught a
characters.
full blast from Sidious, like with 2 Menace. So yeah, his raw power to match your incoming attacks are crazy. And to give reference, a weaker Yoda, or a Yoda that fought a weaker Palpatine, I should say, was able to catch a mountain-sized monster whose laugh threw meteors from orbit. That shit y'all worship Madara for when he dropped one, that thing laughed and threw a bunch. And Yoda casually caught him and was like, "What's up, bitch?" and won. So, like, him catching that from Palpatine in a power struggle is no laughing matter. I think he's catching any power shot they throw at him to kind of end that debate right there. Like, is he strong enough to repulse shit they have? Yes. He's able to throw it back with the Force. I think he takes down this group, high diff, but I think if you add Naruto, he loses.
Yeah, for the third round, if you throw Naruto in here, we are 1v1 scenario. It'd be really difficult, but Naruto would probably take the W. If you add him teammates on top of that, I think this gets infinitely more frustrating. Because not only does he have piles and piles and piles and piles of people he has to always be throwing away from him, but he also has wildly intelligent characters on the other side strategizing and enacting those strategies while he's still dealing with those things. And yeah, it's just a real nightmare scenario whenever it comes to fighting so many people that are I'm not going to say crazy below your level, but below your level, but are capable of landing attacks on you in unison with somebody who is on your level, if not barely above.
True, yeah. So, second round. I'll kind of do a quick review for everybody. So, first round, we said he clears everybody up until Naruto, where that gets really in question. We kind of think Naruto wins, but if he's in Barrio mode, we think he loses. Because the clones are what clutches it for him. And then in the second round, Starkiller takes him high diff. Third round, Naruto helps clutch the team W. So, anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching my rediscussion of an old topic. If you like Star Wars or Naruto, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel as I cover both. And make sure to go check out my boy Lumos as he makes banger content as well. And I'm going to let him plug himself real quick.
True. Name's Lumos Theramax. Hopefully the link will be in the description down low. And it's been a blast being on the old coffee shop. And hopefully I see you down the way, man. We got to cover some other.
Yeah, you cut out, but he said we had to cover why Ben Kren beats Necron, so we'll do that. But yeah, thanks guys for watching, and definitely look out for more collabs from us, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.
Later, Landreds.